This video is not a video to trigger fear for family planning in you. This video is not a professional advice on the kind of family planning you should take. This video is basically me sharing my experience, where I'm at right now. It's my natural family planning method, my artificial planning method, which one is more effective, why I chose the one I am on right now. And this is basically like the kind of video I have always wanted to see or hear women talk about their experience, even though it seems weird or even though it feels like you are doing too much. This is the kind of video I expected to see when I was on my search for family planning. If there is anybody who can relate, I am that kind of woman who is not bothered about family planning when she is breastfeeding. For 1 year, 2 months that I breastfed my baby, I wasn't bothered because breastfeeding was a form of family planning for me. For my 2 babies, I never needed family planning for the whole period I breastfed them, and for those periods I was not seeing my flow for 1 day. So it was a perfect family planning method for me, and it didn't involve me doing much. I wasn't scared because I knew that I wasn't going to get pregnant. So you ask, how did I know, okay, that this is going to work for me? When I had my first baby, for the first 6 months, I did not see my period, and my mom eventually told me that she is that kind of woman that never had her period once her baby was still on her breast. So my mom never had a situation of having a 3-month-old baby and then pregnancy. She never had that situation, and then she said it might be my case. Even though I was still scared, I just took it by faith that, oh, this is my kind of person. I didn't go further to do any kind of family planning or anything, and I was safe for that period, even though I and my husband was still very careful. Like I don't want to come and carry baby and carry baby. So for my second baby, the same thing happened. There was no need to go on family planning whilst I was still breastfeeding. It was quite easy the first year of breastfeeding, but fast forward to 1 year, 2 months after my baby stopped breastfeeding, the next month my flow started like water. That's where I had the difficulties. And at this point, I was determined not to have another baby, and I started doing natural family planning method, like counting your ovulation days. And I was using this app called Cherry app, and one other app. I'm going to be putting it here. And those apps were very accurate. Even when I was trying to get pregnant, those apps will tell you your ovulation days, the days that you shouldn't have sex, the days that are safe, just a lot of things that you need to calculate your period. And whenever I track that app, my period always fall in place. Like any day, if they said today, if the app is saying today, if you put your details correctly, it was going to give you a correct date for your period. So I was using such app to know my dry days, the days I was free and all that, but I was still too scared. And then I graduated into withdrawal method. So yes, hubby was too scared, same way I was scared. We didn't want to have more kids, and then we decided to have other natural ways of preventing pregnancies that were different from family planning, like something that is not natural. And I have always been this person that is so scared of family planning. And number one story that I've had of family planning is from Tonya Godwin on YouTube here. She gave a story of when she went abroad and had her family planning implanted, and then she bled for 1 year. That story alone scared the devil out of me. After trying natural family method, it was actually working for me the whole say 5 months that I was on it. I was safe, but I was too scared. And then I told myself, since I am so ready not to have another baby, why not look for a more permanent solution before they just do you boom, baby on the way. I wanted a more permanent solution, and then I started asking questions, and the stories I got as feedback were not palliative. The first woman I asked, she said it made her gain so much weight that she couldn't lose. It gave her so much headache. Another person I asked was an elderly woman. She said she was on it for the first few years of her not wanting to have more kids, and then she was so uncomfortable. She had so much discomfort. She was bleeding consistently, and she had to remove it. And then she told me a story of her sister that had an implant, and then it caused her a sickness. I don't know what kind of sickness, but the sister later died along the way. I got so many scary stories about it. And then I asked someone else, and she said she was perfectly okay. I kept on asking and meeting women, interviewing them. Anybody I see, I'm like, how did you prevent getting pregnant for this long? If I see a woman who has stopped giving birth, I go to her and I'm like, how did you do it? So some women, we say they are on natural family planning, like they take herbs, they take some herbs. If you want me to ask them those herbs, please leave it in the comment section. I will ask them, but I am someone who is so scared of things like that because I don't know what damage is going to cause to my system. I met another woman and she told me that the only thing she does is to do withdrawal method, and then anytime she misses her period, she just goes to the chemist and they give her something to bring back the period. So I just had a lot of opinions. I was scared, I was skeptical, and then I told myself, let me go. Everybody's body is not the same. Then I got a friend who had it done, and she wasn't gaining weight, she wasn't sick, she wasn't having headache, she was just fine. And then I said, why can't that be my story? Why am I listening to the negative report? Even though it is good to get reviews, but like 60% of women saying it didn't work for them, it gave them headache, it made them fat, it made them bleed. Like it just had a lot of stories. And then I had some women who said it was the perfect family planning they've ever had. So I asked them which one they did. Some said implantation. There's this particular woman that says she does the injection on every 3 months. She was so accurate, and me knowing myself, I know I could be so careless. I might forget. Like 3 months is too close for me to do that. And then I had a friend who was on pills. She took pills every day of her life, and I knew I couldn't go for that. I couldn't take pills every day of my life. Like it's something I can never think of. Like I won't even remember because I don't even like drugs before. So there were other method I looked out for. I looked out for the insertion, and I got so many reviews that people kept on saying they didn't like it, they were uncomfortable. They like, I just got so many things that blew my mind, and I'm saying no, 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 I'm not going to do that one. And then I had to like just go to the hospital myself and find out. So I went to the doctor, he gave me his own opinion. I was thinking they'll ask me to like run some tests and see the one that works for my body, but you know our Nigerian centers, no test was run. So I went to where I was supposed to get it, and I kept on asking the woman, what is the side effect, what is the side effect? And she said there was no side effect, that the only side effect I may experience is my period may disappear for a few months, or I may not be able to get my period, but whichever way, it's still not a trouble. But if my period comes and exceeds the days, I should come back for her to give me medication. So if my period wasn't flowing normal, if it wasn't flowing normal, it's normal. But if it was flowing irregularly, maybe like instead of the menstruation to stop in 3 days, if it continues till like 5 6 days, I should come back for her to recheck me or maybe give me drugs. I went on, which one do you advise is best for me? And she said, I don't know, you make your choice. I said, okay, because I've had a lot of reviews of people doing the insertion method. That is the hand insertion, not the JJ insertion. Let me try the insertion. If it doesn't work for me, I might come back to take it out. And then she said, okay. So she said, how many years did I work? I said 5 years. At least for 5 years, I would know if I'm ready to have another baby within that period, or if I am psychologically or mentally ready to be a mom again, I would know within that period. And then she said I should go for 3 years. 3 years old. If it works for me, then I can come back for if it works for me, maybe the next time I want to have another implant, I can do the 5 years old, or just continue with the 3 years and change it every 3 years. But me, I'm gonna change mine every 2 years. It's not going to expire on me at all. So I had it done. It was a little bit painful because, and I was given anesthesia. I was given a drug that prevented pain, and it was inserted. My life changed. Like, I became a new person. I don't know how to say it. I started feeling like a pregnant woman. I started having hormonal changes. I started having smell, like strong sense of smell. I started, like, I just had so many things that were so strange. I'm like, how is this even possible? So I felt like every day was my ovulation day. Like, every time I'm feeling weird. And the one that I can't relate to is the headache. Like, I started having headache. Do you know what headache means? I started having serious headaches that felt like I was having migraine. Like, if it comes, I can't lift up my head, I can't lift my eyes. And then someone said, why not just go and remove it? I said, remove what? I am in my trial phase. If it doesn't work, I will remove it. But for me to say it doesn't work, I have to wait like 6 months. Yeah, Abby, like at least 6 months before I can say, oh, this thing is not working for me. Let me go back and change it. So the headaches were much, and then my flow did not come for that month. The next month, my flow came. It was like rivers of living water. I have never had a flow that heavy, and it persisted. Every day I got stained. I couldn't even go to work because the stains were much. I couldn't come out because once I step out, I was pouring. I was pouring. It felt like the whole blood in my system were pouring away. Like, I became empty. It was as if I lost all the blood I had in my system, and it got so scary that I was going to go back to the hospital and take it out. Like, for the for 1 week I was bleeding seriously. My menstruation was for 3 days, and after 3 days I was still having heavy flow. I started taking things that could substitute for blood. I started taking milk, I started taking malt, I started taking all my herbal blood medicine, because I was draining. My hands were becoming white, and I said, oh, maybe what these women said were actually true. Like, I might as well just go and remove this thing, or maybe go back to complain. So after that day, I decided to go back to the hospital to take it out, and then it stopped. But I still went ahead to go back to the hospital, but not that day. I went the next day, and then she asked me, is it still flowing? I said no. Has it stopped? I said yes. And then she said, then it has corrected itself, you can now go. I left. I was expecting it to continue, but no. Over the days, I am getting used to it, even though the headaches are still there. It comes once in a month. Like, I have tracked it, and it comes once in a month. This is my experience. Like, family planning, artificial family planning, anything that goes against how God has made us is risky. Since it goes against how God have made our body, you should expect changes. If it's something you cannot control, take it out. If it's something you cannot manage, take it out and find other method. Like, using that Cherry app will really work wonders for you. And I do not advise that if you haven't had your next baby, or you're planning to have more kids, for you to go into family planning. That's just my candid advice. Using those ovulation app, you can track your period by correctly inputting it. So you can use it for like 2 months and be sure that it's tracking your period. Then you know when they write safe period for you. I cannot calculate all those things in my head. I admire people that say, oh, they calculate. I have too much. I'm thinking of that to be calculating the days that are my safe period and not. So you can calculate your safe period, set alarms, and know when and when not to. Or you can decide to take pills, you can take injections. There are just lots of options available. You can use the bead method, where I don't know how to count that, but the bead method is just like counting your safe days and your unsafe days. There are a lot of options available. So for me, this was my experience, and I know a lot of women had bad experiences, good experiences. So if you are on family planning, what method are you using? If you are trying to have more babies, what method are you using to prevent the now, so that you don't have a baby and a baby together? What method are you using to prevent now? How are you doing it? Please leave it in the comment section. You might be helping the next woman who is struggling. Leave it in the comment section. How did you discover family planning? Why did you insist on going into it? Just leave it in the comment section. This is my story. This is how far I have come, and I have been on this for 6 months, and if it doesn't work for me, I'm going to take it out, but I'm still going to find another method that will work. So there's no harm in trial and error. If you are trying to get something done, there's no harm in trial and error. And I just believe that it's not going to take my life. It's not going to put me in a condition where I don't want to be in. And anything you do outside faith is sin. So I have faith that this is going to work for me. So don't judge me for sharing my story. I know a lot of women who are on this journey, and they do not have who to talk to. They are scared of people judging them for not wanting more kids. I am not scared of you judging me for not wanting more kids. So if you have your own story, how are you preventing pregnancies? How are you spacing out your baby? Just leave it in the comment section. You may be helping the next woman. What story resonates with you in this whole story that I've told, my rant? Please leave it in the comment section. I will be there to reply all comments and also give my own candid opinion. All right guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to check out my natural hair content in this channel. I do natural hair. I love natural hair. I do motherhood and then family vlogs. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys in my next one. Bye.